Welcome to Saints on Cinema, and joining me still is Trina Boyce. How are you? Hopefully you just watched our spoiler-free discussion of Dumbo. And now we're going to dump all over Dumbo in the spoilers discussion. I'm sorry. I was so frustrated with how almost everything was executed. And I can't remember every little detail, but I'll kind of hit the highlights of the things that most frustrated me. If you saw the movie, I know a lot of people loved it. That's great. And I hope you enjoyed it. You can appreciate what Tim Burton tried to create. I couldn't get around trying to figure out his motives or what he was trying to do. I just know he didn't do what the original Dumbo did. So I just want to break down, first of all, the opening sequence. I felt like we were jumping right into Dumbo. We talked about the opening credits, and I loved it. I think that's probably maybe my top 10 off the top of my head favorite opening credits. I liked it that much. The way they did the design, the characters, I loved it. The music.
You got you excited. You're like, oh, we're going to the circus.
Yes. And I was like, great, this is what I want. And you jump in the circus feel, and you have Casey Jr., Casey the train. He had the big old smile and everything. It was beautiful paint and everything. I looked like it was as good as like the Hogwarts train, whatever that one's called. But I was stoked. I was like, here we go on this freaking awesome circus. And then it stops, and then the kids go to get their dad, and Colin Farrell comes down. There's this really cold and awkward greeting. I know they're apprehensive. He has missing an arm and everything, but it's like, okay, but there's no heart. They finally hug him. And it's like, okay.
It was super awkward and cold.
Yeah.
And, here we get this momentum. The train's going, we're going. And all of a sudden, wah, wah. Super downer, You're just like.
He's walking around in a wife beater. And he's just like, everyone's just met you. You're not doing your job. He just gets all grouchy and everything. And I was like, this is just like how he is in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which you already probably don't want to watch. If you've never seen it, don't watch it. But it's like. He goes around, he's just kind of grunting at people. He's not really excited to see Colin Farrell. You see all the other performers, they're not excited. You don't see anything with them. And then you go and he gets thrown into the elephants. And then you go to the elephants. It does show Timothy the Mouse, and it's like, great, here he is. He's not going to be in the movie. I was like, okay, well, at least they did a nod to him, but whatever. So the thing is, I just want to say, we'll start at the birth, right? You mentioned the stork comes in, and it's just kind of like, here's a stork. You were expecting a stork. You know what frustrated me about that is the trailer showed that opening shot with all the storks flying in. Like, they were going to really feel what they try to show you the moments that you saw in the original movie.
Yeah.
This movie didn't cut any of those things. And
no.
The stork just flew, landed, and took off. I was like, wait, that's it? I wanted to hear Baby Mine or whatever. Or just the score with.
Yeah, that would have been a cute time to play that. Yeah.
So you missed it. And the stork was the best part of Dumbo, other than Timothy. But I like the crows. I know the racist stuff, but the crows were fun, But the stork was hilarious. He was running late, and he had that moment where Jumbo was like sad. Everyone got their babies, but her. And then he's like sitting on the clouds. Oh, I got lost or whatever. And then he shows up. Oh, great! Here's some anticipation for Dumbo. Dumbo gets born, and I'm sorry, the trailer showed that beautiful scene where Dumbo opens up and he comes out of the straw, and it looked amazing. But in the trailer, it's just the two kids. Sure. But in this one, Colin Farrell's there just so Dumbo can sneeze on him, and they throw a sneezing joke in there. I'm like, come on, this is the Dumbo reveal.
Yeah. It wasn't even the same as the trailer. That always annoys me. The trailers. It's just total misrepresentation.
Yes.
Or they don't need to have those doggone scenes in the movie. I'm like, because that was a cute scene in the trailer, and then I'm waiting for that moment.
Heartfelt.
Yeah.
This discovery, here's this elephant and his big, beautiful eyes, and you don't see his ears yet, but here he is. Oh, but he's got to sneeze to make a sneezing joke. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, you want to fall in love with Dumbo, and the first thing you think is, ew, because he's like sneezing, and you're like, not adorable.
Oh. So they ruined that. So already we introduced Dumbo, and I'm already like, hey, you just sucked the heart out of that moment that you got right in the trailer. So then he's born, and then you have Jumbo for the first time being defensive. I can't remember exactly how it plays out, but that's right. She's pulled off to go to work, and she wants to stay there because we didn't know that Dumbo was hiding that she gave birth overnight or whatever the stories, But so now Jumbo showed a little bit of ownership, a little bit of protectiveness, like the mother lion thing. But remember in the original, that protectiveness started because the other elephants rejected her because of her defense of him. She was already kind of the outcast, but then when Dumbo showed up, you had that moment where she embraced him and loved him because, and with his ears, remember she draped the ears around a little blanket. Yeah, you had to see the love between Jumbo and Dumbo in order to pay off the baby mine scene later. But they didn't take any time to do that. Jumbo wasn't even in the scene. They pulled her to work, then Dumbo comes out, starts spraying water or something. I don't remember what happened, but it's like, hey, I'm bored. I don't care about Dumbo already. I was
actually, and that's a really good point, because you don't even have time to fall in love with Jumbo. You don't get to see that she's a really sweet mom. She's just kind of working woman and pops out a baby and then she disappears. You know, like you don't get to see her have this sweet relationship with her baby, or even not with Dumbo. You don't get to see that she's just a sweet lady, you know?
Right. And if your third act is going to be all of this big plot to free Dumbo and reunite him and sneak out Jumbo and stuff, I'm sorry, we need to care about their relationship earlier than just like being told, oh, he heard what he thought was his mom, but it was a truck. That was so dumb. Like, he's in a circus, he hears elephants all the time, and he mistook a car horn for an elephant's trunk. Come on, you know, it's just stuff like that. I needed to feel the love between Jumbo and Dumbo, and it was not there. And that's the thing is, that magic was because Jumbo, a mother, is the only one that accepted him for his deformity, his difference, you know? And that she loved him regardless. And that's what made Timothy so important. When he came in, when Jumbo was gone, remember, he was still there. He was in the circus. He didn't do anything wrong. Mom's in jail now. And then Timothy comes, is like, why are they still ignoring him? He's cute. I don't mind his ears. I like him. Remember, he goes up and starts talking to him, gives him the little peanuts. He's like hiding under the straw. He's like sucking the peanuts.
It's such a good memory of the original.
I just remember these moments. I never really cared about Dumbo, but these moments stuck with me because they were heartfelt and done well.
And heartbreaking. Your heart should break, and you feel sad, you know, but not because of how they treat the moment, just because you've seen other things. For example, actually earlier this week, I finally watched the documentary called Blackfish. Did you ever see it? It's about the killer whales, specifically at SeaWorld. And it's a documentary, and your heart breaks and aches. And it's that longing. You hear the baby cry, you see the mother cry, you see them being separated, and you're just like, no. And you didn't even get that in Dumbo movie, you know?
And that's the point of Dumbo. That's the story. Right. Dumbo's story is Dumbo's born, mom protects Dumbo, mom gets arrested for protecting Dumbo from these kids that are harassing him, physically harassing him, and then he has to perform in the circus in order to win everyone's hearts that eventually reunites him with her. That's it. That's the story. That didn't happen in this movie. It kind of the moments were.
Oh, you're frozen. Hold on.
But like when Dumbo in the original, he goes out, he does his job, he's just walking around. They just have their little train of elephants walking around. They're just a spectacle of elephants for the people coming to see the elephants. It's not a big show. And then eventually they get around and the kids are unattended. They come over, go behind the ropes and start messing with Dumbo and playing with his ears and making fun of him and physically touching him. That triggers Jumbo to go over and start throwing them around and spanking their butts and everything. And then the workers come in and try and retain Jumbo, and then she gets defensive and she starts pulling the pole and everything, and then the thing starts falling down. That's a real defense for a physical attack on Dumbo. She was protecting her baby. In this one, I'm trying to remember, he came out, he has this baby, a baby bottle or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't like all that makeup on him. Did that bother you at all?
Way to hide the ears. Okay, that was part of the story. But he comes out and they start laughing at him when his ears come out, and they're laughing at him from the stands. am I to understand that Jumbo heard and interpreted their words to understand that they were making fun of him? That she speaks complete English, even the slang and the ridicule. I'm like, why is she getting defensive? And then they start throwing things. If it's an elephant, baby, I didn't buy it, you know? And then I don't remember exactly what happens. She goes and she goes and moves him or whatever, and whatever happens. And then I think it's right there where something on the sign falls, and it says, whatever the sign says comes down, and the D comes on top of the J, and then it says Dumbo instead of Jumbo.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It was like right then. Like she does it, he does something silly, the sign falls, and it's like, there's Dumbo. I'm like, look, that happened within like 2 seconds. I was like, that was ridiculous. You know, it's like so shoehorned in there. So they arrest her. The one worker dies, that was weird, and you have the one guy that was really mean, that he died from the assault. I'm like, okay. And then they sell her. The odds of them finding Jumbo again after that, like you can't just sell her, you know, and you're gonna do the baby mine before the transfer, you know. I'm like, okay, you either got to keep her in the circus, or you're just making it really ridiculous that they're ever gonna find Jumbo again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So they arrest her, and since she was out of the picture, that was. Anyway, I don't know. I felt like all of the spirit behind Jumbo's motivation, the practicality of an animated elephant protecting her baby, just that ridiculous concept. Anyway, not ridiculous, but you know, that part of the fantasy was taken out, and there's this CGI elephant comprehending everything, protecting her baby, and getting very violent, and accidentally bumping the tent and making it fall over, and the guy ends up dying in the Disney movie. And I'm like, this is weird.
I was kind of surprised by that. Yeah, I mean that he dies.
Yeah, and they shove their hats. And
he's not the first one to ever die in a Disney movie, but it just did seem kind of odd. Although, you know, of course, I was happy to see him go because he was just so irrationally mean.
If you have someone die in a Disney movie, it has to be meaningful, and there has to be build up, like a villain. You'll have a villain
or in any movie, really.
Yeah, or someone that is dear to the character. It has to be an emotional, sad death, or it should be in a Disney movie, or it should be a villain that has earned a reason to die, that you need them to you know what I mean? There's consequences.
Right.
And usually it's their own fault. In this one, he was harassing Jumbo, and that was the animal cruelty stuff. That was a big part, was the way he was treating her. That wasn't necessary. The kids harassing Dumbo was in this movie. That's why Jumbo goes nuts, not some jerk circus guy, you know? It's like, this was a statement against circuses, and I'm tired of that, you know? Anyway, that was the big frustration I had in the first part, was the connection with Jumbo and Dumbo wasn't there. Her defensiveness wasn't realistic to me. It was just kind of weird. And then the baby mine, like I said, it wasn't that moment where they're connecting, and because he had a little time that you saw this anticipation, this excitement to see his mom. There was a sadness there that wasn't in the movie. They're just there. And the Pink Elephants on Parade, I gotta say, I hate that song. I hate it. Pink Elephants on Parade and Heffalumps and Woozles from Winnie the Pooh. The worst songs. I just can't stand them. They're obnoxious to hear. The scenes are terrible. I don't like that psychedelic.
Yeah, and that was one element of the original that I'm glad they got rid of. But there was also a little wink to the audience, because in the original, a clown gives Dumbo champagne to celebrate his performance, right? And he drinks it and gets drunk and has this psychedelic experience.
Yeah, they drop it in the water. The bottle falls out of the tent or something, if I remember, and it goes in the water. They drink the water. Timothy and Dumbo drink the water, and they start hiccuping, and balloons start coming out and stuff.
Yeah. So in this movie, Danny DeVito says, almost with a wink, he doesn't wink, but you know, to the audience, no, babies shouldn't get drunk. And then that was that. And I thought, okay, good. I'm glad we're not watching Dumbo get drunk, because it's a children's movie, for crying out loud.
Right. That was a very dated sequence, back from the original Dumbo. And I didn't need that here, but I didn't need pink elephants on parade. Instead, later on, all of a sudden, they're making these bubbles in the show, and these bubbles take form and they start connecting and walking around. And I'm like, how is this we can't do that now. How am I supposed to believe you can do that? Why do you need a flying elephant when you have this magic bubble scene, You can do some cool stuff with that
scene. You didn't like it?
Well, and then you have Dumbo watching like he's like stoned or something watching it. I'm like, why is Dumbo impressed by this? I didn't like it.
I actually liked it. It felt very Disney to me, and it seemed, again, kind of like, with a wink, this new technology scene sort of is replacing all of the drunk,
the drunk scene,
the drunk scene, because it kind of had that, almost like you said, like, whoa, what is this? What is it? But I did think it was kind of magical. And for Disney, I want magic. And so that was, of course, it's magical to see an elephant fly, but that was the one moment that felt sort of like magical to me. No?
Yeah.
A girl's perspective.
No, maybe I'm just prejudiced because I really hate that song. And I didn't like it. It was just weird. We stopped and focused on him, and I was like, this is just weird. It reminded me of the opera scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin and Palpatine are sitting there watching the weird jellyfish space thing happening.
Yeah.
But that's the sci-fi in another galaxy. This is Earth in the 30s or 50, whatever. And I'm like, we can't do that now. Why am I watching this psychedelic balloon thing anyway? So speaking of elephant or the flying, why is Dumbo snorting these feathers? It's like so. Like in the beginning,
was that in the original? Because again, I haven't seen the original for a long time. Yeah,
he held the snorted peanuts. Yeah, he snorted peanuts, and then later on, when he's with the crows, they give him a feather, and and he's convinced that that's what makes him fly. It's a magic feather.
Yes, I did remember that.
He just holds it. In this one, he's like snorting like it's like a drug, or he's like, a feather, and he's just like completely just you know what I mean? And I was like, where are these feathers going? Like he just sucks it up, and it's just. And I was like, oh, that's not the whole point. Is him believing the magic feather makes him fly, and then he realized that the magic was inside. They kind of did that, but it was just weird. Him like snorting feathers off of people in the audience and stuff. I'm like, that's weird.
That was weird. Elephants. That was weird. But one thing that we didn't talk about in the other little video that we did was one of the fun cameo performances that was right before the whole bubble scene. And there was a lot of buzz about who was this cameo going to be. And I don't know if you even know who I'm going to say. But it is...
I can't remember.
Michael Buffer. And he comes out to do the announcing. He actually is... a real famous announcer. And so he's the one that gets to say the famous lines. You've seen a house fly. You've probably seen a dragon fly, but you've never seen an elephant fly. And then instead of saying what he says in real life, what does he say? Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready
for Dumbo. And I was like, yes, that was awesome. So I really liked that moment. And I thought, I don't know whose idea that was to get him to do that, but I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
That was fun. And I mentioned the Alan Arkin cameo.
My eyes were in the back of my head.
What's that?
My eyes were in the back of my head when that happened. I was like, oh, come on. It just, I don't know. Maybe it was because I was so checked out of it by the time that happened. Again, this is 2/3 into it, and I'm already like, oh. I just wanted this movie to be. I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
I was so unhappy. I just want to get through it. Anyway, So there was that the trapeze stuff with her trying to ride him and everything. I was like, where are we going with this? And I don't think it paid off. Or with with
no. And I kept thinking, why wouldn't you put one of the little kids on there instead of this grown woman?
Yes,
you know?
yes. If that's the magic, if they're the ones with the connection with them. If you want to have this Free Willy kind of a story, yeah, you're right. The kids should have been the ones in a desperate attempt. Last minute, last resort. We got like E.T. Last thing we can do. We got to fly. That's how you do it. Not this stage thing and it looked horrible. The flying around with her in the tent with him, it looked so bad.
As if the flying elephant needed anything else to make it better. Like, why would you need anybody to ride him? He's flying. He's an elephant, So I agree. I thought, God. And I didn't like her character at all. I thought she was miscast, and she wasn't believable. And the other thing that bothered me too were the accents. All of the characters, it seemed like, had accents kind of coming and going. Colin Farrell and both of the two children actors are British, and their accents kind of went in and out. Eva Green is supposed to be French, but when she first started speaking, she sounded Russian to me. And then a little bit, it kind of sounded British. Occasionally, it would sound French, and I'm like, what is the deal with these accents? Why aren't we just all in America? I don't know. Not that I'm saying it has to be American, but the actors with that, which surprised me because the actors were good. I mean, there were some big names in this movie.
Great cast.
Yeah.
It's a great. I'm really tone deaf to that stuff. I'm so gullible with accents and wigs. I can't spot wigs. I watch people, rip on wigs that look really bad in movies. I'm like, I didn't even know. I'm so naive to that stuff. So you have someone throwing an accent. Colin Farrell's good with an accent. He can do a good American accent.
Normally he is, but this movie, I don't know what the deal was. Here's another aspect that I think is just strange to me. Tell me if it bothered you at all. So, let's free Dumbo. Let's free all of the animals. And it's these evil corporate businessmen, they deserve what's coming to them. Let's destroy everything, this entire theme park. And what bothered me was, it's great to save animals. I don't like to actually see them in captivity. When you go to a zoo and the habitat is super small, I just think it hurts my heart. But anyway, so what bothered me though is the ownership of Dumbo. They legally transferred ownership a few times between these various elephants, Jumbo and Dumbo, right? And yet it was perfectly fine to steal their property, Dumbo, right? Like, this bothers me because is that telling our children, well, if you think something shouldn't be a certain way, it's okay to steal property. Like I just saw the movie, what was the dog movie? Now I'm drawing a blank. Oh, A Dog's Way Home. Did you see that one?
No, I don't like dog movies, but go ahead.
Oh, same thing. They get this puppy and they rescue the puppy because it's living underneath a house that's been abandoned and it's going to be destroyed. They take it and it's the mother and her son, and the mother reminds them, oh, this is against our lease. We're not allowed to own a pet. Who cares? They wanted to save the pet, so apparently the law is out the window. Contracts don't matter. That kind of stuff bugs me.
Yeah, you know what movie did that right? Was the Planet of the Apes, the first one with James Franco. Yeah. I like that aspect where once the ape was once Caesar was in that little whatever that was, I can't remember now, and they were mistreating him. No matter what, he couldn't just come and get Caesar back. He had to go through the right channels and everything, and that played into the storyline where while he was unable to get him back, Caesar was going through his transformation and all that. But we're going to go into that review, but I think that I like that realism played into the story.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking that he couldn't take him, and Caesar was like crushed that he couldn't go with his friend. And then later on, by the time he could do it legally, now Caesar didn't want to, and I was like, ooh. Anyway, so I didn't think about that during Dumbo, but you're right. That whole kidnapping and freeing Jumbo thing was ridiculous. If you had an elephant that went crazy in a circus and killed a guy, I don't care who you're selling it to. he could afford any elephant with that big theme park. Why would he have bought this crazy elephant that killed someone to put in his little, it's just, you're never going to see Jumbo again. They would have put her down, done illegal things with her. Seriously. I was like, if you're dark, you just killed a guy, you're going to be realistic. Fine. They're never finding Jumbo again. I don't know. The whole thing with the theme park at the end, was that too much? Like where Michael was pulling the levers and starting his own fires and
yeah, it was too much. It was too distracting. It's like, where'd Dumbo go? Where's his mom? Where's the story? Where's the heart? Because they kind of went off on these.
Dumbo was scary for the movie in the last half. Sorry.
Yeah. So do you think that Tim Burton felt like the original movie was too simple? Like you explained it, it's just the relationship between the mother and the baby. And do you think audiences expect more excitement and more depth and more complex plots? Do you think that's why all of that came to be?
I think that with these live action remakes, I think Disney wants to just put some. I think not a cash grab. I don't like that term, but it's obviously out there to make a profit, and they're trying to do something fun with these to reinvent. I think they're trying to reinvent and reintroduce these stories, these movies, to a new generation.
Absolutely,
it's an interesting way to do it with a live action. I'm not opposed to the live action movies. I don't think Tim Burton coming in and taking over the Dumbo project I don't think that was what happened here to do that, to bring to life and reintroduce this concept. I really think there was some kind of an agenda or something, a message that he was trying to portray with the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with Dumbo. And like the Jungle Book was such a good example of taking this story, and I don't like the original Dumbo. This is the opposite. Jungle Book, I hate the original movie. I don't like the story. There's a lot I don't like about it, but the remake, I really liked it. I love Mowgli. I can't stand cartoon Mowgli. He's the worst character, so annoying to listen to and watch, but the Mowgli in the movie, he stole it, and I loved it. This one, it wasn't perfect. There's things I didn't like about it, but this one is like, hey, you took a good story that was a simple story, you gutted it, you didn't create the heart of it, and then you added something that had to be a statement. And all the corporate stuff and the theme park and everything, the outcome of what happens and who ends up where. You tried to tell this story where you cap it at the end, where he shows like Danny DeVito, like, oh, here's our new circus, and he's walking around showing where everyone ended up, and it's like this happy day at the end. It reminded me of Bruce Almighty. Remember Bruce Almighty? You have the beginning sequence where he's doing his broadcast and he's kind of a jerk. And then I do
love that movie, though.
But then at the end of it, he does the same thing where he's showing his broadcast, but you see the difference. In this one, we didn't see it in the beginning because you raced right through it to get to the stupid corporate crap. And now you're like showing, here's where we are now. You're like, I didn't care. You didn't capture me earlier,
Yeah, you just didn't care, that's for sure. And one thing that bugs me about this movie and a lot of movies like it is I don't want to be preached at. I don't want to be preached at like corporate greed and capitalism or save the environment, because then you feel like, what, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm just watching your movie. But the movie starts getting angry at the end of Dumbo, almost kind of like like, we're better than you because we don't think that theme parks should make money and all animals should be taken back to Africa or whatever, And so I kind of got my little bristles. I felt like I was being preached at. And another element that I thought was missing was humor. There weren't fun, light moments to balance out the sadness or the evil or the terrible situations. Give me some balance.
And the original Timothy was funny.
What's that?
Timothy was funny in the first. Timothy the mouse was what was the fun part of it. He's the one that jumped in and he was cute. And Dumbo didn't talk to him. It was just Timothy's dialogue and he was fun. This one Timothy was replaced with the kids and they were flat. There was one part when he laughed. The one part that I did laugh out loud was earlier in the movie when it had the black strong man and he was doing the lifting the weights or whatever, and they call him going, and he just tosses the weight and the little guy catches it.
Yeah.
I was like, the weight.
It was very
hilarious.
Yeah, and I would have appreciated more of that when that happened. I thought, oh, this could be a really fun, cute movie with just a lot of cute little subtle things, but it was kind of flat, like you said, a little dry in that regard. And I always appreciate more.
And that would have made me enjoy the characters more. I would have enjoyed the circus performers more, which would have made the end sequence more fun because I like these characters. I wanted to see them infiltrate and sneak out Jumbo, as ridiculous as that was, or unethical, as you pointed out. But I don't know. Everything just fell on the ground for me. He missed the point. Everything that was fun or should have been there was not done right. I don't know. I can't remember a lot more about the spoilers. The whole thing, the only other thing was at the end when not Michael Keaton, his other guy, the bald guy or whoever, the guy that was chasing the kids, he's like, where's Jumbo, or where's Colin Farrell's, whatever his name was, or where are the kids? And they're chasing the kids. Like, what are they going to do with the kids? What are you going to go kill them, But the entire amusement park's on fire and falling to the ground and collapsing. And you're still you're chasing the kids into the circus ring, into the big tent. It's like, I think you have other things to worry. And then they says the line like at the very end, but I was already thinking like, why are you still chasing these kids about the flying elephant when your entire park is on the ground in flames? I think you're time to move on now.
Yeah.
And then they're stuck in there, and then Dumbo goes and he gets the water, and he goes and he suddenly he takes one big sip, and he's just like a fire hose putting out the flames to get out of the door. I'm like, come on. It was too much. I was like, I don't care.
That whole end scene with all of that was so chaotic. And there was a moment where the mermaid is supposed to have this significant moment, but it wasn't built up. Like, I just was like, whatever, like there wasn't this big redemptive moment for her. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It just seemed strange. Like, I didn't care about her, and now I'm supposed to applaud whatever is happening here. I don't even know what's happening, and it's so crazy. Yeah. I just think it was a mismatch with Tim Burton directing this one. He definitely is talented, and he has a great style, but I don't know that it was the best match for this movie and the telling of this story.
Yeah. And the original's a dark story. It's a sad story. The whole thing is like a very low beat. And at the end, it's happy. He didn't climax and make it happy. It was dumb because he didn't make us care about the sadness to build up to the happiness at the end.
Yeah.
It was just depressing and dark, and then it ended like, so.
What I thought was so funny is during this final reunion between mother and son, it should have been just so heartwarming, and he just like flies off the mountain and leaves her.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be hugging more or something? I don't know.
Well, you got to realize they did just spend probably like 6 weeks on the boat before they go back to Africa. So now he's just free, and they just wanted to do like Maleficent, just watch her fly around at the end. And I'm like, okay.
Well, and that was the other thing that was so funny is that, they're getting on the ship. How did they know where to go? There wasn't a handler to take them saying, I'm going to make sure they get there safely. They just sort of go on the ship, and then all of a sudden they're in beautiful Africa.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dumbo flying around with the kids. Wasn't the kids at the end? Who flew out?
No, they didn't go to Africa. They were back at the circus.
No, I mean when he flew, he freed them from the tent.
Oh yeah.
He knew right where the dock was. I mean, come on, it's an elephant, and the kids aren't. Anyway, this is a big. I don't know.
I wonder, actually, when I was watching it too, and as we're talking about the sadness, it seems like there have been a series of movies where directors are trying to give us a depth. Remember the movie Inside? What was it called? Inside Out?
Inside Out? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very
that
depressing.
Was so deep and profound for an animated movie. And it seems like other directors are saying, oh, audiences want deep. Let's give them deep. And for example, this Wonder Park, other movie, the animated movie, it's kind of has the same feel of this Dumbo where this girl's mother is sick and has to go away, presumably for cancer treatment, although they never really explain what the illness is. And so there's sort of this dark cloud over her the whole movie. And then at the end of the movie, her mom's okay, and she walks in the door, and we hadn't really earned that depth,
Right.
like with Dumbo. You know, let me feel truly heartbroken, and then let me triumph, you know, and be happy again at the sad. And so it was just sort of this, I don't know, gray kind of feeling.
Because you didn't care about the characters from the beginning.
Right.
And that's the key. Inside Out, you didn't know much about the girl except for what her feelings were, you know. Toy Story, every one of them is a very sad tone going through the thing, but guess what? They can have fun with it, and they make you care about the characters, and that way when there's that redemptive moment at the end, like you're saying, you're excited and you feel that redemption with them. This movie felt nothing, because Dumbo was scenery for the last half of the movie, and the first half they chopped up and they missed the good parts of it. So anyway, I was just disappointed. I didn't
was too.
know how much I cared about Dumbo until I saw this movie. Now I just wanted to go back and rewatch. I haven't done it yet, but I want to go back and rewatch the original.
I do too. And I'll probably watch it and go, you know, it wasn't that great. But as a child,
I never cared.
As a child, I remember thinking, that was cute. And I remember going on the Dumbo ride and being excited to go on the ride because of the movie. And then as my kids, you know, there was decades without any new Dumbo information. So by the time I took my kids to Disneyland, the Dumbo ride was just sort of old and irrelevant, and they just walked past it to get to something better. Do you think, and we could end on this note, do you think that this movie will make the new younger generation excited to see that Dumbo ride or fall in love with Dumbo?
No, I really don't. I don't think he or you know, rose up as like a, I don't want to say like a triumph, but like it's not a triumphant story in my mind. He wasn't the main character. It was the other characters, the family, and I don't think that it was executed where you even care about them. You know, I don't know. I can't put myself in because like I said, kids in the theater were laughing and smiling, but it wasn't like there was like a big applause or anything at the end, which I don't, you know, you don't always get that in the theater, even on a big movie, but it wasn't, there was no heart to it. I think kids need to have a character that they feel something for, and I don't think they did, other than the visuals of what he looked like, and he was so cute. They nailed it with the CGI, just not with the story. So I can't see kids being excited about the ride over that. They'd probably want to go on something big like the one that fell apart and crashed, you know, but that's Disneyland. They're walking into that big thing. Who cares about the little Dumbo ride? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's been a few years since I've been there, and I think that the Dumbo ride was still there. I don't know if they're going to redo it or if now all of a sudden kids will be interested, but...
Well, if they do it now based on this movie, it'd have to be like a Universal buildings on fire and things. That would have to be the new ride. So, and that's what kids would be excited about.
Yeah, that's actually really true. That's so funny.
All right. Well, Dumbo was a failure. Yep. So anyway, thanks again, Trina, for joining us. Check out her website and Facebook page and YouTube channel.
At Movie Review Mom.
Yeah, Movie Review Mom. So anyway, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed our discussion. If you watched the whole thing, maybe more entertained than when you watched Dumbo. It's probably about as long. So anyway, thanks again. Thanks, Trina. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on Saints on Cinema. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for having me. Bye.